Black Eyed Tales, Black Eyed Tales, it's almost time for Black Eyed Tales. Come along and take my hand, and let's all go to Black Eyed Land. Black Eyed Tales,
Black Eyed Tales.
Modern War Negro.
Hey nigga talking, sit your ass down. What's up motherfuckers, Modern War Negro here, aka Drake Jr. holding shit down as usual. And today I'm playing Prototype 2. Now I'm not gonna lie, this is not the most amazing gameplay because, well, I was doing the main storyline, but I found out it's just fun to run around the city and fuck shit up in this game. So excuse the gameplay, but we're not here for the motherfucking gameplay, right? We're here to hear a young light-skinned brother do his motherfucking thing and tell a story, right? So gather around a campfire, motherfucker. Now, I got a lot of requests to do a Black Eyed Tales on my most embarrassing moment I've ever had, and also do a story. I've been getting a lot of requests to do some stories on my wrestling years. Now, I wrestled for 7 years, so it's impossible for me to condense that all into one little story. I got plenty of stories about wrestling, which I'll save for a later date, but I thought, hey, why not tell the first story about my first wrestling match ever, because that's killing two birds with one stone. It's my most embarrassing moment, and it's also about my wrestling career. Now, like I said, this is the story about my first wrestling match ever. Okay, let me give you a little backstory about how I got into wrestling. Okay, so my father's in the military, and we were living in Hawaii at the time. Now, I played soccer all through my elementary school years, and I was fucking amazing. I was a prodigy. I was lightning fast. You know, I was a forward, and I played left midfield sometimes. And you know, I think it's because I was left-footed. I mean, that's kind of weird to say, but you know, you have an advantage when you go to your left a lot. And I was so fucking good. At the age of 9, I was playing U10, and I was fucking shit up so much. I remember I scored like 15 goals in one game. The coach, I was playing travel soccer, which is equivalent to like AAU and like youth basketball. It's like the top notch, the best of the kids. I was playing at a gold level, travel soccer level, and I was playing U10 at the time, and I was 9 years old, and I was so good. I was scoring so many goals that the coach, he bumped me up to U16, I believe, and I was playing with 16-year-old kids at the age of 9. And like I was like, if you could just imagine, I was like a little kid. I was like fucking like 4 or 5, and like I'm like fucking playing with damn near grown ass men. But hey, I was that good, and I thought I was gonna go to the MLS. I thought I was gonna be fucking amazing. So my dad gets his orders because he's in the military. He gets his orders that we're moving to DC. I was like, oh shit, now I gotta establish my soccer game out in DC and shit like that. But whatever, we about to go ham or whatever. So we take the flight out, and before we go to actually DC, we fly out to St. Louis, because my grandma lives out there, and we decided to stay with my grandma for the summer or whatever. So while I was staying with my grandma, I mean, like, as a kid, all I knew was hard work. Like, hard work. That's all I knew. Working out, working. That's all I knew. And I got to my grandma's house, and she spoiled the living fuck out of me. And I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed that shit, son. I enjoyed that shit. And what ended up happening was I didn't work out that whole summer, and I got fat as shit. Now, I'm 10 years old. I'm a total fat ass, and we are now moving to DC. Now, I lived in DC for maybe like a month, and then we later moved to Virginia, and then that's where I went to middle school. I went to middle school in Virginia. Now, I went to middle school. I'm the new kid or whatever, and my dad, right before school started, he was like, I was like, yeah, I'm about to try out for the soccer team. I'm about to take over. My dad was like, hold up, nigga. He's like, you're fat as shit now. He's like, you're gonna be a fucking wrestler. I was like, no, and like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I got like, cause soccer was all I knew. I got all teary-eyed and shit. I was like, I don't want to be a fucking wrestler, because the only thing I knew about wrestling at that age was like, you wore tights and it's like niggas rolling around on mats and shit. I was like, I don't want to do that gay shit. My dad's like, no, you fat ass, you need to lose some weight, you're gonna be a fucking wrestler. I was like, all right. So I'm the new kid in school, and wrestling season rolls around, and nobody knows me. I joined the wrestling team. We're practicing now. I didn't know this at the time, but I later learned this in my high school years. My wrestling coach in middle school didn't know shit about wrestling, and everything he taught us was completely fucking wrong, okay? So I'm the new kid in school, and I'm starting to establish myself, at least amongst the 6th graders, as being that funny kid. But I wasn't that popular. But, you know, I knew a few people, and I told them I was on the wrestling team, and I wrestled, and our first wrestling meet was on Friday or whatever. So, you know, they've told their friends, and their friends told their friends or whatever. I didn't know this at the time, but once we had the wrestling meet, everybody showed up, and the next thing you know, I swear to God, like, it was like the whole fucking school was at the wrestling meet, and this was on a Friday evening, okay? So I'm looking up in the crowd during the wrestling meet when we came out of our locker. I was like, oh shit, it is a lot of fucking people here. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I gotta kick some ass. I gotta make a name for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like 10, 11 years old or something like that. You know, I was like, I gotta impress these motherfuckers. Because at that age, when you're that young, that's all you worry about is impressing people and shit. Like, you're doing a lot of soul searching at that age. So I'm like, oh god, I gotta impress these people. So we huddle around the coach, you know what I'm saying? He gets the names of the wrestlers on the other team, and we find out who we're wrestling and the weight classes and all that shit. And I looked over at the other team and I said, something don't look right. And it was a girl. I was like, oh shit, it's a girl. I was like, I hope I don't wrestle this bitch. And like, we gather around the coach, and he's naming off everybody that's gonna wrestle who. And then guess who gets to wrestle the girl? I was like, oh shit. He was like, Corey, you gotta wrestle the bitch. That's not what he said, but you know. And if you could have seen my face when he said I had to wrestle the girl, like, I could just imagine the way I was looking at the coach, like, this nigga is setting me up. Because I'm 10, 11 years old. I'm the new kid in school. I'm on a wrestling team. I'm trying to make a name for myself, and I gotta wrestle a girl. And my initial thought was, I remember telling my coach, actually, too. I was like, nigga, there's no way I can win this fucking match. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, if I go out there and wrestle that girl. I was like, ass, can I forfeit? I was like, if I go out there and wrestle this bitch, if I lose, they're gonna say I got my ass kicked by a woman. If I win, they're gonna say, oh, she's just a girl, you're supposed to beat her ass and all this other shit. So I was like, there's no way I can fucking win this match. He's like, Corey, just go out there and wrestle and don't worry about it. I was like, man, I am fucking 10 years old, nigga. Like, this is all I worry about is my fucking friends, nigga. What the hell? Alright, so I'm the new kid in school, and it's time for me. You know, I remember I was sitting on the bench. Everybody, like, all the weight classes of wrestling, you go by, like, the lowest weight to the highest weight. That's the way the wrestling matches go or whatever. Well, I take that back. You flip a coin, and depending on what weight you start, you go up from there. So it ended up flipping a coin, and the weight class that they started happened to be the lowest, and I happened to be one of the highest classes. I was, like, 105, which is a lot in middle school. I was a total fat ass. And eventually, I remember I was sitting on a bench, and one of my new friends came up to me at the bench. He like came creeping up to the bench. He's like, hey man, when you gonna wrestle? I was like, I'm coming up, man. I'm coming up. Chill. He's like, then they call my name, and I report to the desk to wrestle. I put my headgear on. And all eyes was on me, man. And one thing about, like, wrestling is just a sport. Like, it's like one of those sports, like, you just gotta be ready. You cannot be nervous to perform because it's a one-on-one situation. It's a team sport, but it's a one-on-one situation. It's you versus the other man, and all eyes on you. And if you get your ass beat, it's your own fault. You cannot blame the team. That's one of the reasons I actually later on fell in love with wrestling. But anyway, I was like, oh god, I gotta wrestle a chick. He was like, here we go. So we line up to start the wrestling match. And the referee says, he blows his whistle and he says, wrestle. And I swear to God, this is so embarrassing. Now remember, I said my coach didn't know what the fuck he was doing. I was standing like directly up because he didn't teach us what a wrestling stance was. I was standing directly up, and if you don't know anything about wrestling, that's the worst fucking thing you can do because you're just asking to get your ass handed to you. So he says, wrestle. And I swear to God, like, this chick fucking speared me, rock bottomed my ass. Like, she just speared me, like, and I was on the ground and I was pinned. And this all happened within 5 to 10 seconds. The match did not last longer than 10 seconds. I honestly want to say it was about 5 seconds. She speared me to the ground and it knocked the wind out of me, and she pinned me. And I got up, and I don't even know what the fuck was going. Like, my eyes were closed, and I opened them, and like I looked at everybody in the crowd. I looked to my left at everybody in the crowd, and all eyes was on me, and everybody's eyes was open wide. Like, this nigga just got his ass beat. I was like, oh shit. I remember I'm like 11 years old, 10, 11. I keep saying, I don't know how old you are in 6th grade, 11, I think. I'm 11 years old. I'm the new kid in school. I'm trying to establish a name for myself, and I just got my ass beat by some chick. And this was my chance to prove myself. So I took the long walk of shame back to the bench, and I sit down, and I hang my head. I was like, oh my God, these people are not gonna let me live this shit down. Now remember, this was this wrestling match, my first wrestling match. This shit happened on a Friday, so I remember that Friday everybody went home. I just remember like after the match was over, everybody left the crowd and everybody was like laughing and looking at me, but nobody actually came up to me and started talking shit. So it was that Friday, we went home, and that weekend I sat in my room and in my house the whole fucking weekend, just like worrying about what people were gonna. I was worrying about what people were gonna think about me. They was like, oh, I was just sitting there like, oh, they're gonna judge the shit out of me. They're gonna judge me. I can't show my face in this fucking school anymore, Mom. I can't. No. So, damn, my goofy ass left me. Fuck this shit. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm not gonna do another take. One take. That's all a nigga do. That's all you know I do. So that Monday, I go back to school and I go, let's see, the first, second, third, fourth period, everything was fine. And I get to lunch and I started feeling good about myself. I get to lunch, I was like, okay, nobody gonna fuck with me. I was like, maybe they forgot I got my ass beat by this bitch. And I remember it was lunchtime and I was going to my locker and I was doing the combination. I was looking down the lock doing the combination and somebody bangs up against my locker and they was like, hey. And he was like an older kid. He was like a 7th or 8th grade. He's like, ain't you that nigga that got your ass beat by that bitch? I was like, oh no. He started yelling in the fucking cafeteria. He's like, hey yo, here we go. We been looking for this nigga. This that nigga that got his ass beat by the girl. And they didn't, like, for the rest of my 6th grade year, they didn't let me live that shit down. And I was like, that shit sucked. And the moral of the story is, damn, that bitch changed my life. Never underestimate anybody, you know. Like I know she all jokes and funny and shit, and she beat my ass or whatever. But yeah, it taught me never underestimate anybody. Until still to this day, like I developed a killer mentality because of that shit. Like I don't care if I know I can beat you, I'm still gonna come in there like I can't, and I'm gonna whoop your fucking ass and blah blah blah. And it also taught me another moral. It taught me was, life goes on, you know. They made fun of me and, you know, blah blah blah, but you know, I'm still breathing, I'm still shining and shit. So yeah, if you enjoyed this story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, favorite, you know, all that bullshit. Thanks for watching, you guys, but you already know my city need me. Ghost.
Go. For really, my nigga, they saying that Dizzy, that nigga be going too hard. But it's fucking a lie, it's fuck your life, nigga, they will take your all. Take your all. Can't do it if I'm not the man. Sign me up and then lock me in, lock to learn. But nigga, I got the fans, so what I tell them? I'm doing good, I don't need a dip. Independent living, how the people feel. I'ma do this shit without a major hoe.